Are car restoration and car customization the same thing? Are car restoration and customization also different? What does a famous millionaire and a master of this business say about restoration as an income? Have a seat and we'll start to immerse you in the world of restoration. I want to explain the difference between car repair and restoration with a real-life example. A fairly wealthy owner of a vintage Mercedes-Benz W198, aka 300SL, was thrilled to acquire an original radio receiver for this model. He paid a considerable sum for a non-working device. Then he gave it to a radio technician, who replaced the original old lamps with modern Chinese components. In other words, his repair nullified the value of the receiver, although it seemed fixed. Never turn to craftsmen who can't distinguish repair from restoration. It could cost you a lot of money. When a car is merely repaired, the goal is just to get whatever is broken to work again. But when it comes to restoration, every detail matters. By the way, a big mistake is trying to make a lot of money on repairs. Usually the margin in this business is not high. Truly big money can be made specifically in restoration. But it's also quite easy to burn through money in this field. We'll talk more about making money on restoration a bit later. But there's another type of restoration, where adherence to details and historical accuracy of the car is not as important as functionality. Some might confuse this with customization, but that's also incorrect. We'll talk about customization in another video, but now we have a different topic. There are legendary cars in single copies found in museums or even lost. And there are enthusiasts who either take a donor or try to create a replica from scratch. If we make a copy from scratch, it's another direction called kit car creation. But if we take a donor and preserve its exterior, then it's not a kit and not a custom. A prime example of this type of restoration is the Binky video series. In 2013, the YouTube channel Band Obsession Motorsport decided to restore an old Austin Mini and make it into the legendary rally turbocharged 4WD Mini. Their goal: to preserve the Mini's exterior and interior as much as possible. To maintain authenticity, they even kept civilian 3-point seat belts, the rear seat, and did not install a roll cage. Therefore, this car couldn't participate in competitions. In my opinion, it's an attempt to sit on two chairs. Usually, if people want to restore a sports car, they make it a competition ready, like the original. But the project's authors wanted to focus primarily on the restoration of a civilian car for city driving. For this, they bought an old half-rotted Mini and started by disassembling everything and removing rust. The body had so many holes that welding was inevitable. But before welding, all axes had to be cut off. As the project involved the power of a sports car, the original engine was not suitable. The guys decided to install a motor from a Toyota Celica ST185 GT4. But they faced an unexpected problem. The engine didn't fit in length. They had to do something about this, as the task was to preserve the classic appearance of the car. This complicated the project. The front had to be completely cut off and the underhood area reworked from the bulkhead into the cabin. Since there would be sports wheels, the wheel arches needed to be widened. And now it's the 21st episode and the end of 2018. Remember when they started this project? In fact, if restoration is done thoughtfully, it cannot be completed even in a year. It takes years. In this episode, the guys work on the car's interior, create a central console and door cards, and a few other things. It's already February 2019. Several good speakers and a special stereo system are being installed. Of course, this is unnecessary in a sports car, but the channel's authors have been working on the project for so long that they decided to enjoy not only the drive, but also the aesthetics. As you understand, I'm purposely skipping many details to avoid turning this video into a retelling of what you can watch on their channel. My task is to show you how complex the restoration process of any car is. June 2020, the guys finish assembling the engine, adding additional brackets, sensors, wiring, and many additional tasks. And finally, it's time to paint the body. It might seem simple to some, but if you want to do it well, it's very important to follow the technology and use a specially equipped paint booth. And don't forget, before painting the body, everything had to be disassembled again. Naturally, when the body is painted, it's foolish not to protect it against rust. Then comes sound insulation, but without fanaticism, as weight is a very important parameter for a sports car. And again, the assembly of external and other equipment. How could it be otherwise? And now it's the end of April 2023, 38th episode. project Binky is nearing completion. They installed a strut bar under the hood for rigidity, installed the luggage rack and completed work on the interior. It's clear that the guys will finish everything, as they've already demonstrated their perseverance, and we eagerly await the completion of such an amazing project. And here's a comment under the latest video reflecting the essence of what's happening. I watched the first episode as a single, met my wife, got married, had 2 kids, both now go to school. Now we're divorced. Insanity. Keep it up, guys. And if you read the other comments, you'll see that there are a huge number of people who like the topic of auto restoration, who are ready to wait for new episodes for months and follow the project for years. As I mentioned earlier, the most challenging restoration is classic restoration. Here, it's not enough to restore the car's appearance. Even restoring the original engine isn't enough. In such projects, everything starts with the car's documents. If the documents can't prove the car's authenticity, no matter how much you adhere to the original look and installation of original components, it's pointless. Yes, it will be called a restoration, but not a classic one, and this will significantly affect the price. Even if the documents are in order and everything is restored intelligently, that's still not enough. Expert assessment and certification are also needed. For example, in the USA, there's the prestigious Pebble Beach Concours competition, where the jury checks every bolt for authenticity. A certificate from this competition skyrockets the price of your car. In such business, it's very important to have all the documents that not only confirm the car's authenticity, but also contain its ownership history. If your car was owned by a celebrity, this fact raises the price even higher. Of course, if you want to restore just for yourself and not show anyone the result, you can overlook many details. But you won't be able to sell such a car for a high price, and if you poorly follow the rules of classic restoration, you risk not being able to sell the car at all. The thing is, the restoration process itself is very expensive, and if there isn't a markup for a unique ownership history, you'll spend so much money that you'll never be able to recoup the project. People are willing to pay big money only for the informational value added to the metal. For instance, in China, they make copies of Mercedes G-Wagons, but no one will pay for them as much as the original. Or another example, Korea makes wonderful executive cars that surpass Mercedes in everything, even reliability. But no one is willing to pay big money just because it's a Kia. In restoration too, information is of crucial importance. If you've been restoring for 10 years, it's clear that the project will take so much money and time that it can't even break even, not to mention earning money. To make good money, and we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars or more, you need a completely different approach to restoration. Right from the start, before buying a car for restoration, everything needs to be calculated in advance. For me, the role model in this business is Wayne Carini, who made a fortune restoring classic cars. Let's get to know this legendary figure a bit closer. Wayne Carini is an American collector and restorer of classic cars, as well as a TV host and designer. He is known for his participation in the popular TV show Chasing Classic Cars on the Discovery Channel, where he buys, repairs and sells rare and valuable classic cars. Wayne Carini was born on October 13, 1951 in Portland, Connecticut, to Bob and Rosemary Carini. His father owned a car repair and restoration workshop and taught Wayne from childhood to love and respect vintage cars. Wayne started working with his father at the age of 9 and at 14 restored his first car, a 1929 Ford Model A. Today he owns 3 car dealerships in Portland and his net worth is estimated at $20 million. The market value of his companies is estimated at $1 billion. I hope now you understand why Wayne Carini is exactly the person to learn from about earning money in car restoration. So what's his approach to this business? Wayne believes that in such a business, it's important to have not only theoretical knowledge, but also practical experience in areas such as mechanics, electrics, welding, painting, upholstery, and the like. He recommends attending specialized courses and working for some time in workshops under the guidance of experienced masters. To find clients in profitable projects, it's very important to have good connections and reputation in the retro car sphere. Carini advises participating in various exhibitions, auctions, and interest clubs, where you can meet potential clients and colleagues. It's also important to choose projects that match your interests, skills, and budget. Wayne Carini asserts that to restore retro cars, you need to be prepared to work with different materials and technologies that can be rare, expensive, or difficult to process. He recommends studying the history and characteristics of each car and looking for sources where you can find or order the necessary parts and tools. Restoring retro cars is a tough and slow job which can face various problems and risks. He advises being patient, persistent, and creative, and also being able to adapt to different unexpected situations and demands. It's also crucial in this business to be honest, responsible, and professional, to stand out among competitors and win clients' trust. And you can't work with a one-size-fits-all approach. Some cars require long-term restoration, others are easier to resell as they are. Also, it's not necessary to restore with your own money. You can find a client who wants to restore a car and then make money on the sale. Then you earn on the restoration itself and also on a percentage of the sale at auction. There are no identical and standard solutions. You need to be flexible and creative. And of course, it's extremely important not only to try to calculate everything down to the smallest detail, but also to include a budget for unforeseen situations. But if you have a lot of money and aren't looking to make a profit from selling, yet you want to literally bring history into modern times, then this too would be a restoration, but a non-commercial one. A very vivid example of this would be the attempt to restore old exhibition buses of the General Motors Company. This was a traveling exhibition called Parade of Progress. Launched in 1936, it showcased humanity's latest technological achievements. A total of 12 of these buses were produced, with only 9 surviving. This was a huge bus of futuristic design for that time, 3.65 meters tall with a retractable chandelier on the roof and a fold-down sideboard door. One such specimen was restored by the company Kindig Design and even filmed an entire series of videos of this process in the program Bitchin' Brides on Discovery. When the bus owner approached Dave, designer and owner of this company, with a restoration request, it initially seemed like this project was impossible. Much documentation was lost, and it was hard to understand how and what to restore. Everything in this project was unique. Even the jet engine, an exhibit of which had to be installed in the salon, had to be found somewhere. Naturally, it's not surprising that even a whole company of professionals took 22 months to restore it. The project was completed in 2014. One of these restored buses was later sold for $4.1 million. How much Kindig Design could have asked for their specimen is hard to imagine. Dave has already won first places in exhibitions for both restored and customized cars multiple times. You have been introduced to the details of car restoration and have seen 2 completely different approaches to this business. You need to understand from the start why you need this. Either you simply want to realize a long-held dream, or your goal is to make money from restoration. These 2 approaches differ significantly from the start of the project. That's all for now. See you next time.